Into the Spider-Verse is a wild ride through the Spider-Verse, through multiple dimensions where we see Spider-Men and women from across time and space.
Spider-persons.
Thank you. I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about all the Spider-Verse characters, your core Spider-Man team, if you will.
Yes.
There is one spoiler one, which I will highlight at the end when we do talk about it.
Okay, great.
If you haven't seen the movie, you probably want to skip over that, but it will be marked. Mm-hmm. And you will know.
You'll know.
We thought, let's give a bit of origin about some of these other ones and some fun facts.
Okay, I'm ready.
First off, we've got original recipe, good guy, Peter Parker, prime of his life, 25-year-old, that we get at the start.
We do, yeah.
He's actually voiced by Chris Pine.
Oh, the Dreamboat himself.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, his role in this universe seems to be a bit of a mix of some of the stuff we've seen in the movies.
Yeah.
The Tobey Maguire version.
Little Tobey Maguire, his little Andrew Garfield. He's a little bit Spider-Man from the Spider-Man video game, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that he's very sort of tech savvy and he's been doing it a little while.
Yep.
It feels like that character maybe a couple of years later even.
Yeah.
Is really, really on the top of his game kind of thing.
Absolutely.
He's got his life together, this guy.
He certainly does.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a nice little inclusion to get this kind of absolutely 100%, this is the best kind of version of this character you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, right.
Because then there's also paralleled in a different version of that character that we get, which we'll talk about. I like the inclusion of Chris Pine, though. I think I couldn't pick the voice at first. Also, they were talking about, it was either for this one or the other one, getting Tobey Maguire to voice a role.
I spent a lot of this movie hoping for a cameo from one of the previous Spider-Man. We didn't get it, but I mean...
We could talk about it a bit at the end, because a lot of stuff was considered. But we'll get around to that.
Cool.
Next up, we've got Miles Morales. Very popular in the Ultimate Comics, obviously.
Yes.
He's come over into the regular Spider-Man universe. This isn't the exact version of the Ultimate Comics on screen.
No, everything here is kind of a slight... In a movie about parallel universes, every one of these... This is its own universe.
Yes.
This is not directly tied to any of the comic books specifically. Mm-hmm. Everything here is kind of a fresh take.
Yeah.
So Miles Morales was created by Brian Michael Bendis as what would a Spider-Man be like if he existed today? And so we get Miles Morales.
We see that, yeah. And in the Ultimate Universe, the original version of Peter Parker is killed. They've merged those universes now, haven't they? The Ultimate Universe have come over into the regular
Some of the best bits have, yes.
Some of the best
bits.
Which he is. That's a character that, people have been pushing for a long time to appear on film. Yeah. Some people wanted the new version in the MCU to not do Peter Parker again, but then do Miles Morales. They are obviously building towards that because Donald Glover plays the Prowler, or pre-Prowler. Yes. So they're definitely going to do it down the line. So Miles Morales gets a lot of play. And I think this movie, it's a good to focus on that character. I think it works.
For sure. And we've seen the origin of Peter Parker so many times in the movies at this point. Yes. We don't need to see it again.
We definitely don't. But have you seen this, Mason? A Peter Parker in his mid-30s, divorced, depressed, a little bit overweight.
Yep.
Still at the same time at the top of his game, which I enjoy.
He's a little bit down on his luck. What I enjoyed about him was he's not an idiot. He's been doing this so long. He knows every trick. He knows
what a villain's going to say.
Yep.
Or there's always going to be a hard drive you got to get or whatever.
He's a little bit worn down by the whole process, but he's still there to be a hero and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I enjoyed because despite all the shortfalls that he's obviously past the prime of his life and he's kind of sick of it all, he's just so good at it still.
Yeah, right.
Like it's still, he's still crushing it. I'm glad they didn't go too deadbeat on him.
He does wear sweatpants for most of the movie, but
that's dimensional related as well because he jumped over. But I like that they made him a good mentor. He wasn't like, I don't want to be a teacher.
Yeah,
he does it, which I quite liked.
I mean, he should probably invest in some Spanx, but whatever.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got Spider-Man Noir. Voiced by Nick Cage.
The Oscar-winning Nicolas Cage.
That's it. It's basically if Spider-Man was Batman, pretty much.
So this is from an era in which Peter Parker was around in the 1930s during the Depression.
Yep.
And gets his powers then.
Yeah.
And decides to be like a two-fisted dealer of justice.
And guns.
And he's always in black and white.
Yeah.
And in this, he can only see in black and white. It's a funny little thing there.
It's pretty great, yeah. That's a good inclusion. We've got Spider-Gwen, though she's not called Spider-Gwen. The comic that's based on is called Spider-Gwen, but she's called Spider-Woman because if she was called Spider-Gwen, then people would know.
They'd be like, let's just go through some Gwens on Facebook and see if any of them look like her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In the comics, it's Peter Parker's girlfriend who he let die in a horrible accident. Mm-hmm. You may have seen it in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, or you probably didn't.
In this reality, she lived.
Mm-hmm.
and Peter Parker did not.
Yeah, sweet Spider-Man suit, I feel.
It's really good, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I think all of these have the movie does a really good job, and obviously they're based off the comics.
Yep.
They all have really distinct designs.
For sure,
and bringing them all together really works. Mm-hmm. Next up, we got Penny Parker, which is a Japanese mech suit version of Spider-Man.
That's correct.
Created by
Gerard Way, we recently learned, of My Chemical Romance.
What a crazy origin.
And creator of the Umbrella Academy, which is another great comic book. But that's neither here nor there
this
right now.
This guy does it all. He does two things at the very least.
I know, right?
So it's not an insanely popular or well-known character.
Well, I think she was invented specifically for the
Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse comic book crossover arc. Yes. So she's one of the Spider people created solely for that. So she hasn't got a lot of play, but she's got an origin of sorts.
So it's basically a Japanese female version of Peter Parker, similar version with the, uncle dies and all those kind of things, except she doesn't have superpowers, but she has a mech suit that is partially powered by a radioactive spider.
Yes. She partially controls the suit because the spider has also bitten her.
Yes,
so they share a link. Yeah.
So there you go. So anime,
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I'm the biggest weeaboo there is, James.
I do know that about you. Mm-hmm. We got Spider-Ham then.
Voiced by John Mulaney.
Voiced by John Mulaney, which I love.
A character You've been
pushing for Spider-Ham for a long time. I've been pushing for
Spider-Ham to be in something for a really long time, and I'm glad they've finally put it out there. He's not quite as I imagined he would be in animated form, but he's still pretty great.
Well, what's great about his origin is he's not a pig that was bitten by a radioactive spider. He was a spider
initially, and he was bitten by a radioactive pig. And so when he gets his powers in the comic books, he just moves in with his version of Aunt May, who was a pig, because she has dementia and she doesn't realize she doesn't have a nephew.
Correct.
So there you go.
And even though he's a comic book, he's a wacky comic book Looney Tunes kind of character, he's also very dangerous.
Yes, exactly.
Which is great. Mm-hmm. This one is a spoiler. This is from the post-credit scene.
Ooh.
But they introduce at the very end Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man from the future, Spider-Man 2099.
That's right, yeah.
It's probably the worst designed suit.
I think it's great.
I
love it. Yeah, I loved Spider-Man 2099 back in the day.
Yeah.
Right. He's had a couple of redesigns since then, but this is kind of the original version.
What was first, Batman Beyond or Spider-Man 2099?
I think Spider-Man 2099.
But they both did it, didn't they?
They sure did.
Yeah.
There was also Spider-Man Unlimited, which was basically the same.
Great.
Yeah.
This version is actually voiced by Oscar Isaac.
That's right,
which is really good. Yeah. So if you have seen the post-credit scene or you're just seeing it now, he travels back to 1967 and enters the original Spider-Man cartoon where he meets that version of Peter Parker, and they do the meme where they point at each other, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But I think this is there are more spider people than this, but I think for this movie, that's a really good set to kind of...
Absolutely.
...to go with.
And I think we'll probably, if there is a sequel, and I would hope there is, it seems to be on track to be a movie that people enjoy and go and see at the cinema. So there'll be some sequels, and we'll maybe see some more different Spider-Man.
Well, the thing is as well, the creators of this movie have mentioned that they considered literally every possibility for which spider people to include, and that includes live action also. Because this is a universe, and if you remember the Venom post-credits scene, which is a clip from this movie, they say, meanwhile, in another dimension, all this stuff can exist within the one universe. So I guess technically the MCU stuff could, Venom obviously, they can bring anything in. That means the Tobey Maguire live-action version exists, as does the Andrew Garfield. I'd imagine, I made a video ages ago where I wanted them to do a Spider-Verse movie and bring all the versions together, all the live-action versions that have ever existed, including the one from the 70s, just every version.
Correct.
And I think this is the window or door, spider door, trap door.
Oh,
to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if a live-action Tobey Maguire turned up in this movie.
And I think now, and again, this movie had the various Spider people had wildly differing animation styles, and they all sort of work together cohesively. So give it a shot. This is a whole brand new. It's a brand new look for animation. This movie, and I think if you want to integrate live action into that, I think we're at a point where they could do it.
You thought Shrek was the pinnacle, Mason.
I really did, but what a fool I was. What a bloody fool.
Yeah. I'd love to know if though people got a favourite out of any of these. Please tell us what that is. Also, if there's another version of Spider-Man that you'd love to see show up, which one is it?
Everybody's got a weirdo favourite.
Do you have one that you want to see in particular? You could even say just a Tom Holland, Mason. You could be nice and boring if you wanted to. Is that what you want?
Never be boring.
Yeah.
I
want to see Doppelganger.
Yep.
that weird 6 arms.
I was almost I was going to go the version of Peter Parker where he's got 6 arms, except he never found a cure. So now he's just got 6 arms all the time.
Great.
Yeah.
Pretty good stuff.
I agree.
All right, then. Anyway, we have videos here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We've got some trailer breakdowns for Avengers Endgame. Also, we have a podcast called The Weekly Planet where we talk movies and comics and TV shows. This upcoming episode, we're going to be talking about Into the Spider-Verse, all about that movie and how it's probably good.
It is probably good, you know?
I mean, it is good. We've seen it.
We've actually seen it, yeah.
And it's probably good.
Probably.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Grab that gem, you guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.